now we have a way of having a digital ID where the user is in control, not some dystopian Palantir funded beast that no one actually wants. I like this phrase of open protocols win. I know about it because of going deep down the Bitcoin rabbit hole, and the amount of eyeballs that have combed over the Bitcoin code is more than any other piece of code ever known to man.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also this idea that, you can opt into Bitcoin or you can opt out. And if you opt out, that's totally up to you, no problem. But when you opt in, you're able to build on top of this thing. And so there's that great graphic that I've seen a number of times where it's like Bitcoin is the ability to own the network, and what gets built on top of it only drives more value into the network itself. Unlike when you had Google and Facebook and Amazon being built out of the last kind of internet wave, shall we say, you needed to own the equity in those individual companies. So you had to be able to stock pick, and you had to be able to get into deals that were exclusive potentially, or whatever, just
Mm-hmm.
right time, right place. Whereas actually it's like, oh, hang on, I can just own a piece of the Bitcoin network, and whatever value it's created, I end up accruing some of that purchasing power. When it comes to Nostr, obviously Bitcoin's the native token, shall we say, for the Nostr protocol, but the user gains value as more users turn up, like the classic network effect. But equally, the businesses that rock up only add fuel on top of that. Is that the correct way to think it through?
Yeah,
And like,
the
where might I be
businesses.
slightly wrong there?
Bitcoin is a unique piece. Bitcoin is very different to Nostr. I think we kind of, and this is another one of my unpopular opinions in the Nostr space, is that I think we treat Nostr a little bit too much like we treat Bitcoin.
Okay.
Bitcoin, you don't have to invest in a business in order to accrete the value of Bitcoin, because as businesses build, as you described, they increase the value of Bitcoin. That's not the same on Nostr. Nostr is actually more like the internet, in the sense that the internet didn't accrue value. You couldn't buy a share of the
Yes, you
of the
couldn't
internet
own
protocol.
HTTP.
Exactly. So exactly. So you bought into Amazon, Google, etc. It's actually going to be the same on Nostr. So
Okay.
Nostr won't accrue any value. It's a valueless protocol. There's no token. There's nothing. So in order to benefit from Nostr, we do what we do best, which is we buy into companies. And in my opinion,
Mm,
private companies are the ultimate vehicle for the accrual of information. Sorry, for the accrual of value. Bitcoin
mm.
is an anomaly. Bitcoin looks and feels like a fucking investment just because we are discovering money and it's
Yeah.
monetizing.
Yeah.
That's it. So kind of,
Making saving
yeah,
great again. I
exactly,
love that
exactly.
meme.
Make
Yeah.
savings great again. So sometimes I think there's a bit of like wire crossing, is that because Nostr
Yes.
and Bitcoin are so related, we start to think, oh, okay, the Nostr protocol might accrue some value. It's like, no, no, no. Nostr is just another layer. So it's like you got, you know, TCP, IP, HTTP. Now you got Nostr. It's just another layer, which
Yeah.
means you have a larger design space for the web. So if in the last era of the web, you invested in the Googles and the Amazons of the world, or in the second era, you invested in the Facebooks or the Instagrams. This is the third era of the web, and you'll be able to invest in a new kind of product that adopts a new design space on top of 5 protocols instead of 4. The current internet stack is 4 protocols. The new internet stack, in fact, you could probably say 6, because you could argue that Bitcoin is another part of that internet stack. Although Bitcoin kind of like stands apart because it is a protocol with value embedded. But like if you wanted to slap it in there, you've got 6 layers to the protocol now. So you have a larger design space. So we will see new kinds of companies that weren't possible in the last 2 eras of the web. And I believe, knock on wood, that Satlantis
Mm.
will be one of those new companies. Like when I think about this like 5, 10, 15 years from now, I can't imagine people using TripAdvisor, Google Maps, and sort of like, that's not going to, like, travel is a $12 trillion industry, and it's going to continue growing. Travel's never going to go away. Like I love industries like that are never going to go away. How people do travel is going to completely shift and transform. And sure, there will probably be the dumb run of the mill masses travel, but there will be a new kind of mechanism for location independence, which is what I want to go for. And the kind of product that is necessary for that depends upon the existence of 2 new layers on the internet, which is money as a protocol and identity as a protocol. And to me, that's Bitcoin and Nostr. And that gives us the ability to build something special here.
And it's funny actually. So we've been recording for over an hour. Obviously, we've had a couple of Wi-Fi glitches, but we haven't used the word identity in relation to Nostr once. But that I think is actually the best way of describing it. It's like now we have a way of having a digital ID where the user is in control, not some dystopian Palantir funded beast that no one actually wants.